Hey guys, it's Peyton. Hadn't posted a video in a really long time. I was in the process of a move here the last couple months. We moved from Mississippi to Alaska. It was quite a long jump, but we got here. My first few videos, I just got started posting videos. My first few were in the middle of the dark, basically, with a lamp on. It was late at night, maybe 1 in the morning for each of those. And I did a video on this one right here, the Pathfinder Scout, and people asked me for a better look at it. A few people did on the comments, so that's what I'm going to do, and I'm also going to compare it to the confused Pathfinder 1. So, the difference between these knives, let's start with the similarities. They're both made by Blind Horse Knives in America. That's a plus any day of the week in my book. They both... That's about it. I'm not going to lie to you. That's about it. They're made in America by Blind Horse Knives. Both of them have awesome construction for strength. But let's just talk about the specs on each one. The Pathfinder 1 to start with has about a 5 1/4 inch blade and about a 4 1/2 inch handle, I believe. It may be a little, give or take a few centimeters on the handle, but it has a Scandi grind, a full Scandi grind. It is 3/16 thick. It has jipping on the back. It is 01 tool steel. And the handles are canvas micarta with fisheye bolts and a brass lanyard tube. A very small brass lanyard tube, but you can still get a piece of bank line through there. Like I do, I prefer bank line over paracord anyway. But paracord's kind of out of the question. It will throw sparks off the spine. It will throw sparks with a rock off of the back of the spine with a flint. Like I said, with a piece of flint, shirt, quartz, Obsidian will do it. All those will do it. Again, this knife cuts pretty well, but the only problem with it is 3/16 thick with a Scandi grind, so the angle of the Scandi is pretty steep. It's pretty shallow. It's got a really wide Scandi to it, so it doesn't bite into wood as good as the Moras do, or the Helles, or any of those that are actually made as good Scandinavian knives. We'll get more into that in a second. The sheath on it is great if you like this kind of sheath. I don't personally like it, but it has a retention lock here. Operating one-handed, so I'm not going to put it in, guys, but retention lock here. It slides all the way up, and that knife will not go anywhere. It has a fire steel loop. It has, again, it's all Kydex and leather backing for the belt loop. It's a good sheath as far as construction and what it does. Again, if you slide this up, it's never coming out. You could jump into a river, and you would die before this would come out. I mean, it's not going nowhere. Now let's go to the Scout. The Scout is about a 5 3/4 blade, 5 1/2 to 5 3/4 blade. It is 5/32 inch thick, which is my favorite thickness in a knife. You don't need a 3/16 knife to baton. People think you need 3/16, you need quarter. I went all the way through the Pathfinder basic class with this. I chopped up to 2-inch trees with it, just freehanded chopping. I baton chopped with it. I batoned. I put it up on a thing and beat it into wood to help split something one time. It was all knotted up, so I had to do that. I struck many ferro rods off the back of it. This knife saw a lot of love that weekend, and it came out on top. My uncle, the one that was with me, actually did take the Pathfinder 1. It did good as well, but to me, it did not perform as good as this one did. But let's get back into it. About 5 3/4, 5 1/2 inch blade, right in the middle there. 5/32 01 tool steel. A saber grind, which is my favorite grind with a convex edge. This is phenolic resin handles. I didn't really know what it was when I bought it, but it looked just like micarta. And to tell you the truth, it feels almost exactly like micarta. I can't tell much difference between it. So, I mean, they're very strong. I've had no problems with them. Fisheye bolts. I forgot to mention both of these knives have 2-ton epoxy behind the scales. You do not have to worry about dunking it in water. Again, big lanyard hole. I love big lanyard holes. You can get paracord through it. You can get leather lace. You can get bank line. You can get anything you want through it. The handle is, I think, about a 5-inch handle. The handle is a really big handle. I mean, you've got a lot of handle you can get choked back on. Get back on and chop with. The main reason I prefer this one, there's a couple actually. Again, 5/32, it makes it a lot better carver. The Sabre grind gives it a lot of strength. Other than the full convex, the Sabre is the strongest grind. The Sabre is the strongest grind. It has more steel behind the edge. But the only problem with the full convex is it does get a little pain in the butt to sharpen in the field. I know people say you can put it on a flat rock and just do circles. You can, but it's not the way it's meant to do. So, convex edges are meant to be mainly hit with a stone really fast and then stropped. Convex edges are meant to be stropped. Now you can carry a strop with you, that's not a problem. I like to be able to, if I have to, find a flat river stone and do it. And again, you could do that with a convex, but that's not the way it's made to be done. And again, 5/32, 0-1 tool steel Sabre grind, cuts amazingly, carves good. It splits wood with no problem. Again, I've never had any problem with this bending or anything else you could ever think about. It's as strong as it can be. I like the longer handle on it. And this knife, the Pathfinder Scout, even though it's much larger, let me put it right over here for y'all. It's a much larger knife. It is not near about. It's not as heavy as this one is. It's getting pretty close, but it's not quite as heavy as this one is. This one's 3/16, and the grind goes really far down, so it's still got the full stock of steel, and that makes the knife strong. But again, the Scandi is just it's a really shallow grind, so it's really not a great cutter. At least not the best cutter. And so, in my opinion, this one's just a better knife. I like how this blade is a lot wider. You can see the difference there. It's a lot wider. Gives you more. It helps you batoning. I like it a lot better. I just prefer it over that one. I would take this one over that one any day of the week. It's more functional. I've used them both. It carves better. It chops better. Even though this one weighs more, you can't get back on the handle as much. And the problem with Scandi grind is when you chop with them, they bite to the top of the Scandi, and that's as far as they go. They go no more. This one, if you swing it at a piece of softwood, it'll bury all the way up to here. If you swing it at a piece of hardwood, you'll get about halfway. Again, I have batoned oak with this. I have batoned hickory, ironwood, anything you could possibly think of, I've batoned with it. Again, that won't do it, just not as good as this one. Again, okay, this one comes with a leather sheath. I prefer leather sheaths over Kydex any day of the week. Kydex don't offer any protection from the elements. Leather sheaths do hold water unless you waterproof them, which is what I did with Overnaw's leather protector. It has a fire steel loop on it. I have a Hedgehog Leatherworks fire steel on it. Best fire steels ever. The handles never come off of them. Again, but one thing I did, I maybe can get this one in there for you. One thing I did is, people wonder why these don't have retentions on them, and people don't like how they don't have retentions. All I did was I made the lanyard just long enough where I could get it around the fire steel, and now that knife doesn't go anywhere. The lanyard does not come off when you run. It grips the back of the fire steel and the leather, and again, you can double it right up and down. It's my cat right there, and that knife ain't going anywhere. So, I'll get out more and get to do tests on this knife, but I have used this knife a lot, and it has never failed me once. It holds a beautiful edge. I've sharpened it maybe a couple times since I've got it. Again, went through a whole Pathfinder school class. I sharpened it at the end of it, and I hadn't had to sharpen it since. And I'm not knocking this knife, guys. This knife, it's a good knife. It just, I would not take it over this one any day, anytime. This knife is a better knife. It's a sturdier knife, and I like it better. The handle's more comfortable. Another criticism on this knife is when you close your hand around it, there's a lot of space. There's some space between your finger and here. This is very thin. This is very thin compared to, get it if I can get it over here. Compared to that. I can't really get them up because I'm getting them over one-handed here, but I mean, this thing is just not even close to the thickness that Pathfinder Scout is. I mean, this thing fills your hand. You have no space. It fills your hand all the way back. If you want to choke back, I mean, to do some good chopping on it, you can. Razor sharp. It had a good point on it. Both of them are based off French trade knives. Both of them are beautiful knives. I would just rather have this one over any other one. And I will do a side-by-side. I'm going to get a camera here in a couple weeks or something, and I will get out there and do a side-by-side comparison in the woods for y'all. But as far as I'm concerned, people wonder which one you'd rather buy. This is actually Dave's favorite knife too. It's not the Pathfinder 1. People think it is, but it's not. All he carried through the whole class was this. I asked him, I said, why aren't you carrying your Pathfinder 1? He said, I like that knife. It's a good knife, but the Pathfinder Scout's my favorite. He said that to me. He commented on a video when a guy asked him and said the Scout is. The Scout's just a beautiful knife. I do miss the curly maple handles. I didn't get a first run of it, but I have Blind Horse Knife as we speak, making me one with curly maple, and it should be in sometime this month, and I'll be sure to show that to y'all. So yeah, guys, these are both good knives. Either one would serve you well, but if you want to know which one to get and you just want to spend the money one time and get one that you're really going to like, I think you'd be more happy. I think you'd be happier with this one. All right, guys, until next time, thank you.